everyone, and welcome to today's Shocktober episode. And today I'm going to be talking about an anime. I don't really want to call it a horror film, but I guess it could be classified as horror because there's nothing really scary or horrifying about it. Sorry. But today I'm going to be talking about Death Note, which is the Netflix 2017 Netflix movie based on the Japanese manga comic book, which I have very little familiarity with. I know, about it. It's about the Notebook and blah, blah, blah. But I had never read it until after I saw the movie. But the plot synopsis is a high school student named Light Turner discovers a mysterious notebook that has the power to kill anyone whose name is written within its pages and launches a secret crusade to rid the world of criminals. So yeah, it's one of these movies. Oh, and I guess I should say directed by Adam Wingard. And I'm only going to read the first screenwriter on this because there's like 3 screenwriters. And each one of their names is more difficult than the last. But all the screenwriters will be posted in the show notes. And I'm probably going to butcher this name. I swear, I'm just getting the most ridiculous names with each movie I review. Charley, Parlapanindes? Yeah, that's the closest I'm going to get. And the movie is starring Nat Wolff and Lakeith. Man, why does everybody have to have some crazy name? Lakeith Stanfield and Margaret Qualley. And Willem Dafoe as Ryuk. So I will say I really enjoyed the first 15 minutes of this movie. I did start reading the first volume of the manga after I saw the movie because while I'll say overall the movie is not that great, it's okay. If you have no familiarity with the source material, I think there is a little bit of enjoyment to be had with the movie. But I'll say the first 15 minutes are really good. Or maybe it's even longer, the first 20 minutes, half hour maybe. I like the introduction of the book. I like the introduction of Ryuk and him kind of learning how to use the book. I like that the movie is rated R and doesn't hold back. Some deaths are brutal and stuff like that. The actors are, they're pretty good. The guy who plays L, I believe his name is, who's kind of the cop trying to take down Light, who goes by codename of Kira. He was, to me, kind of the weakest in the cast. But overall, I thought all the acting was pretty good. But yeah, the setup is kind of my favorite part of the movie. So it starts with him getting the notebook, and then meeting Ryuk because he's in detention, and the whole introduction of how the book works and stuff like that. And then he meets the Maggie, the actress. I don't remember her character name, but he meets her and then has to show her and convince her that the book is real. All of that stuff is really good. And then it's literally once that happens, once he shows her how it works and they decide that they're going to use it together and basically just kill all these criminals, watch the news, see all these bad people, and then take them out. It's what could be wrong? We're killing criminals. And then it starts to turn into a conspiracy of, they start, I guess, so when you write in the notebook, you can actually influence the people. You can have them, for example, he has them all write Kira on the wall so everybody knows that, oh, this was Kira's doing. It's kind of his way of, oh, look at this hero. But then everybody kind of sees well, then Kira must be the one killing all these people, and he's actually murdered hundreds of people, and he's a bad person. And that's kind of the conflict of the movie, which is good. And as I said, the whole setup part is kind of the best part. Then the movie just kind of gets into a montage and starts just rolling through oh, here's everything that they were doing. And the montage feels like it moves too quick. It goes from this is some kid in high school who's doing a couple things to this is a worldwide phenomenon, and Kira has followers, and it kind of blows up very quick. And I have, as I said, I've only started the first volume of the book. I haven't even gotten very far in it yet. And I will say I like the opening to the movie better than I like the opening to the book. I just feel there's a little more explanation in the book of how he got the Death Note, which, because, you know, it literally just falls out of the sky. It just, like, appears on Earth. And there's no explanation for it. And the only explanation is Ryuka's, like, you know, if you don't want the book, I find the next person who gets it. Versus in the comic, he's like, well, I dropped it on Earth on purpose because I was bored. And Ryuka's a death god, and only Light can see him because he's the possessor of the Death Note. And yeah, I like Willem Dafoe is pretty fun as Ryuk. He's just hamming it up. You don't ever get like really good looks at Ryuk, which I kind of like. He's always in the shadows, and I think it's a well-made, stylish decision. And I think you don't really need to see him because, like, as far as the way they tell the story in the movie, I don't know if it's different in the books, like how much Ryuk is involved in the books, but like, he appears when he needs to, and, you know, Willem Dafoe hamming it up, and it's great. It's fine. But yeah, it's kind of just like the middle chunk of the movie just doesn't really do it for me. The montage is, you know, I assume they're trying to condense like a whole first season or first storyline from the books or the anime into a movie, which, you know, is pretty difficult. You got a lot less time to work with, and they probably did the best that they could do, but maybe it just means that, like, oh, this shouldn't be a movie. This should be like a series, like a live action series. Because honestly, like, with everyone involved in this production, except maybe switch out a different actor for L, I would have been fine with this. Like, if all these people working, if this was a series, like, I think the main actress is kind of one of the highlights as far as the actors go, and, you know, her character is, she's clearly interested in death and a little dark herself, so she's quick to jump on board with this whole thing. And then, you know, her and Light start dating, and, you know, that kind of goes where it goes. I'm probably not going to do a spoiler discussion for this movie just because I don't really think it's worth it. You know, this one's kind of up in the air on if, like, I give it like a 2 out of 5. In the sense that, like, it's okay, it's watchable, but I honestly didn't get a lot out of it. Again, the first 20 to 30 minutes is really great. Once you hit that montage, you can kind of just shut it off. When L gets involved, so, you know, Light's dad is a cop, so that kind of plays into part of the storytelling. And L is like some crazy secret investigator who, working for the government, gets involved to try to help find this killer, Kira. And that to me is just kind of the weaker part. I'm sure that's an aspect better in the books, but in the movie it just didn't work for me. And maybe some of that had to do with me not really caring for the performance. But, you know, the whole idea is he, like, wears a mask, and he only tells people his name L is because he assumes that Kira must have, all the victims are publicly identified people by the media, so he assumes they must have a face and a name to be able to get to them. So he keeps his face hidden, doesn't use his real name, and he has, like, an assistant that helps him. It's like an interesting idea, but it's like, oh, you come to that conclusion fairly conveniently. Like, I don't know. I would be hard pressed to think that somebody could put that together, given the supernatural nature of the killings. And, you know, he definitely starts to, as shit goes on and he can't figure it out, he's definitely kind of losing it. But yeah, I don't know. Death Note, it was kind of hit and miss for me. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, I could say if you at least watch the first 30 minutes and then maybe go read the books. But I can't really recommend you spending the time with the movie. And it's okay for what it is, maybe some YouTube highlights, but overall, it kind of just wasn't for me. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode. So be sure to check back tomorrow, where we're going to head back to, I guess, the Middle Ages, 1800s? Yeah, for our next horror film.